We are here in Lyndhurst, Ohio, covering the Tesla Takedown protests right here in front of Tesla on Mayfield Road. We're talking to the people about why they're here and what they think about the impact of these protests on the decline of the Tesla stock. Here's what they have to say. What do you think about the impact of these protests nationwide on the decline of the Tesla stock?
I imagine they're having some impact. I think part of it, though, is people needing to come together at a time when things are so difficult and find a bit of like thinking. I do hope that it encourages people to dump their stock, dump their cars. With his Twitter stock and his other commodities, he's able to transfer money back and forth. I'd like to starve him out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's really possible, though. But it feels like we can make a dent. We can make our voices heard. And April 5th, going to be a massive protest all across the country, not just with Musk and Tesla, but all over the country, and make our voices heard.
May I ask, who did you vote for in the last presidential election?
Kamala Harris. That's what I voted for.
Yeah. And also, can I ask, what kind of car do you drive?
We drive a Prius, a hybrid Prius.
Okay, so no Teslas here.
No,
Teslas here.
As a matter of fact, we have a neighbor who's very unhappy that she bought a Tesla. I know she's embarrassed to have a Tesla, and I feel really sorry for her. Like a lot of people have put bumper stickers on their Teslas that say, "I bought this before I knew Musk was an ass."
Yeah.
You know, it is embarrassing. People who have Teslas, I don't think you can fault them for having purchased them in advance of all of this.
Yeah.
Anyone who goes in and buys anything now is complicit. They're putting money in the pocket of someone who is out to damage this country. And there's no doubt about that. I mean, this move fast and break things attitude with no real authority, it's incredibly dangerous. Bulls in China shops only damage. And the damage is going to be so far felt. People have no idea the brain drain that it's causing in this country. We're going to lose generational knowledge in all areas of this country. Look at what's happening with education as a result of all of this. You now have SB 1 passed yesterday in Ohio that I will be in a position a few years down the road to tell my grandson, don't go to college at a public university in Ohio. I've been here for 32 years. I moved here partly because when we moved here, the education system was rated very highly. It's dropped so far down now that I can, in good conscience, encourage him to be an Ohio State alum in his life. Because they're going to be indoctrinating kids. And Musk's mentality goes right along with that, with his serial impregnating people and his compound to, have more intelligent white kids, his apartheid background where he's never really given that up. He really does believe that he's too smart for anybody to fully understand what he's doing. And we're all too dumb to do anything about it. It's not that we're too dumb. It's just we don't have the financial resources to fight people like that.
You're out here today. We're protesting Tesla. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Pretty obvious. They're stealing everything. Everything. How much Social Security? I got to worry every month whether I'm getting paid or not. I'm on Medicare. Plus, a bunch of fucking assholes.
Yeah. Do you think that the protests will get Elon out of office?
Maybe. Maybe not. He is the richest man in the world, right?
I can't believe I've been protesting this shit since 1977 when I went to the march in Washington, D.C., the, ERA Now movement, all the way back then. Of 1977 when I was going into 5th grade and I went with sixth grade, and I went with my girlfriend and her mom in a Pinto, and we drove all the way to DC and we protested for women's rights, for equal rights for women.
Now tell me.
And now it's like, what's happening? It's like a coup for real.
All of the work you did Now look, do you think that it's going to change?
I think we're experiencing the extinction burst of the entitled white man, of the patriarchy, of because what they're trying to do.
Elon Musk.
We've been fighting and fighting and fighting forever. And I think people are waking up. Young people are waking up and they're saying, we're done with this crap. You know, I think we have collective, not collective consciousness for real, but maybe class consciousness, where people are starting to realize that the big ass problem is wealth inequality, and it's billionaires, and it's been going on since the 80s, right? Since Reagan, and like ending education, free education for colleges, and then ending mental health services, and then trickle down economics, and then the war on, you can go on and on and on. And like that was really, I think that's what's happening. The last time the planets were in this alignment, we had the French Revolution. And if you look, the news outlets are not publicizing the protests. They're happening everywhere. They're getting more. They're getting more.
0 to 1939 in 3 seconds. No Tesla. What do you guys think about the impact of these protests on the Tesla decline in stock?
I'm loving that. Is that wrong? It's wrong to say.
It's not.
Direct correlation. Yeah. I do think it's demonstrating this is not okay.
Yeah.
This is not right. It's not what we wanted. It's not what anyone wanted.
Yeah.
I can't imagine this is what anyone wanted. For sure.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies. Okay. What do you think about the impact of the protests on the Tesla stock decline?
Oh, I think it's a direct relationship. I feel bad because I do think that people initially that used to buy Teslas before Elon was even on board were the people that were doing responsible environmental things. And I feel bad for them now. And they're trying to protect themselves by removing the logo, by putting, I bought this before Elon went crazy. But I think it's absolutely terrible what he's done. I think it's got a direct relationship to the decline. And I think that us being visible, being vocal, saying how we feel, ditching the stock, selling the cars, is what's having direct impact. And obviously he's leveraged all his ownership in the stock to borrow money to buy Twitter, to then use that as a propaganda machine and with his money to get Trump elected. And now he's trying to buy the election in Wisconsin. And as a result of all that, I think we need to tank his stock. Two investors have already called for him to step down as the head of Tesla, which I would greatly support. Call that value in, and then he loses Twitter, he loses the state-run media, he loses his mouth, he stops buying our elections, and this immigrants gets the hell out of our country. That's honestly what I think.
Kamala Harris talked a lot about Project 2025 throughout her campaign. And it's happening right now. But in America, why did they get it wrong?
Because they don't want to read 900 pages. They want to listen to a tweet. They want to, they're okay with listening to repetitive gaslighting, and you hear it enough, you start thinking, oh, maybe that's true. Instead of reading a book, reading an article, reading Project 2025, instead of doing any of that and verifying that, yes, this is exactly their playbook, this is exactly what they wanted to do. Americans have gotten lazy. Our education system has failed. Several people don't read above a 6th grade level. So there's that. And that's why they're attacking the Department of Education. That's why they're pulling funding for schools and things, because the less intelligent a base is, the more likely they are to vote against their own interests.
Tell me about what you think the impact is of these protests on the Tesla stock decline.
I think they are having an impact on the Tesla stock decline. We're seeing it go down worldwide. I wish it would go down more here in the United States. I've heard it's only gone down about 11%. And I think the more people that we can get to understand what he's doing and how detrimental it is to our country, that maybe they'll start paying attention and boycotting with us. Because it's not us that, we're trying to reach. Everybody here, we're preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
It's these people.
Yeah.
It's these people driving by that don't know that we're trying to reach.
Kamala Harris talked a lot about Project 2025 during her campaign. Did America get this wrong? Or why?
I don't really have an answer to that question. I think that the evangelicals just they were really sneaky about getting into power and started pushing this agenda. I think they're mad, you know, they feel like they're being pushed out by diversity, equity, and inclusion, by women, and it's just the white guy, you know, he's mad, and this is his pushback.
Your sign says "Fire Elon, Save Elmo." Tell me about that.
Well, among the things that are being defunded or threatened to be defunded are NPR and PBS, which I think we all agree is a enormous public service that we all rely on. I know my kids are very fond of Sesame Street, and it's a very educational program, and just seems like a lighthearted way to kind of call attention to the problem that we are facing and hurting services that Americans rely on, especially in rural areas.
As Kamala Harris talked a lot about Project 2025, can you tell us the impact of media and how it influences us?
Oh, that's such a long, hard topic, especially right now. People really need to be able to get their information from reliable and truthful sources, which I think we all agree NPR and PBS are. And if more people have been getting their information from PBS and NPR during this last election, I don't think we would be here now. I think that Americans were really, really misled. Trump said over and over that he didn't even know what Project 2025 was, which was patently and provably not true. And here we are living it out day by day. So being able to have access to credible sources of information is something we can't take for granted. It's something that I always took for granted in this country. And I grew up watching PBS and listening to NPR every day. I grew up in a rural area. And I don't know that it would have made a big difference for me not to have that. And I think that's even more true now.
Elon Musk has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Oh, nobody elected Elon. We know that. Let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it feels like there's somebody running the government who was not on the ballot, and the injustice of that. I was always taught that that's not how America works. And it's really distressing to see that that's how it's working now.
Yeah. What do you think about the impact of these protests worldwide on the Tesla stock decrease?
I mean, Elon seems only to care about his wallet. So if that's where we hit him, maybe he'll start paying attention.
Yeah, for sure. Do you mind if I ask who you voted for in the last election?
I voted for Harris.
Okay. And Kamala talked about Project 2025. She talked about basically a lot of the things that are happening now. Why did America get it wrong?
Man, I don't know. I do know that the right-wing media ecosystem is more vast and more powerful than I ever knew about. And I think a lot of people are genuinely good-hearted as well as misinformed.
Yeah.